Let's just in less than 60 seconds. Hi, if you're new here, I coach athletes, but what you may not know is when I was a child, I was severely abused, pretty much since the time I was born. I've been under emotional, physical, psychological, sexual abuse since, I don't know, like elementary age, all the way up through high school. I was under the house roof of several different men. I was abused by some of those men. I adored and loved one completely with all my heart, but then he was violently ripped away. I struggled with a father wound. I absolutely did. I struggled with abandonment issues. I also struggled with my mother. My mother and I had an interesting relationship, and since then we have worked on bridging that gap and healing through the power of counseling. Anyway, so I get to high school and I don't go to college. I try to become invisible because CPTSD and ADHD severely impacted everything I did. Also, I didn't know I was practically blind and had to get contacts, but the whole time in school I just thought I was broken. My brain was fucked up. I decided to get knocked up after high school because I was so freaking desperate to have stability in my life. That's all I wanted. I wanted love, security, and stability. And so I clung onto a version of love. Like if I performed right, I was a good Christian girl, I did the right things, and I would just sacrifice my soul to this man. What ended up happening was a divorce a year later. Very deeply painful. I loved that man with all my life, and now I have a 21-year-old son who is incredible, who the past 2 years after I got divorced to my second marriage, yes, I've been divorced twice. And so we're working on rebuilding that relationship now. Fast forward, after that first divorce when I was 21 years old, I was very young, had a baby, was trying to figure out who the heck I was. So I worked as a cashier. I worked as a video clerk. I worked in a kitchen. And then finally I landed a secure job in a pharmacy, to which I became quickly, got promoted to, certified pharmacy technician because I took the courses, did the thing. I was excelled in that field and decided that 10 years into that, I was like, I need a change because I'm tired of seeing people kill themselves over medicine. And of course, insurance, that's a whole nother story. So I decided to sign up for a 5K. I was never an athlete. I was the last kid picked in gym class in school. I was definitely 2 left feet is how I was portrayed, and I was not athletic. I was clumsy, in my humble opinion, and of course of all the upbringing of stepfathers who mocked me and called me names. So, deeply insecure, abandonment wounds, motherhood wounds, lack of stability my entire life. So I clung on to these things that I thought would give me stability, when in reality, I was just giving my power away and ended up getting hurt. I stayed single after my first kid for about 7 years, and then I got married to my now ex-husband, who was really good at control and manipulation under the guise of doing what's best for me. That's a whole nother story. So that blew up. I watched myself, because right before I met him, I had finally discovered running and marathon training, and every time I wanted to run, he would say things like, you love running more than me, or he would just really downgrade my passions, which I thought, oh, I'm selfish for having a passion, right? Oh, shame on me for wanting to run. That's a whole nother story we can get into another day. The point is, so I stayed in this marriage for 10 years because, again, I was a good Christian little girl and I wanted to do the right things. Even if it meant suffering on the inside, being belittled, being betrayed, and he was unfaithful to me the entire marriage. Even when we were dating, there were so many red flags, and I ignored them all because I thought, well, he's stable, he has a job. And my Taurus moon and my childhood trauma was screaming, give me stability at any cost. Give me stability at any cost. I finally got in therapy because I was screaming at my kids like a maniac, and I didn't like who I was. I watched myself become a monster. So I got into therapy. I did EMDR therapy. Strongly recommend it. Feels like you run a marathon when you do this level of therapy, but it changed my life. The instant I started that, the screaming stopped. I can't even, no joke, I cannot sing EMDR therapy praises enough. And so when I got into the therapy, I realized all the trauma and all this that I've been keeping all welled up within me was not actually my fault. But now how I get to respond to it now is now in my control, right? So I healed that. I found, because my intuition has never been wrong. I just ignored it or told myself I was crazy. And then, of course, when your spouse is telling you you're crazy, that also, reinforces that pattern. So I discovered the text message threads of all these nasty infidelity. I don't want to get into how vulgar it was, but let me just tell you, if you think you know somebody, I married a monster. And then like realizing that, I was like, wow, I keep making great choices. So I had to get therapy for that. Finally chose to walk out. No money, no savings account, nothing. I had nothing. I had a really great credit score at the time because I had started running my own business, to which I had to quit that business during that marriage as well because I had to take over baby and family, and he just wasn't there to support me, and he started doing his own passions. And you know, in any marriage, you should each have separate passions, but when you're constantly stepping on the other person's head to make sure they can't do what they love to do, that's abuse, okay? That's abuse. And financial abuse as well. So I moved out, worked for another running coaching company. It was great, but then there were some unethical practices that were happening that I was not on board with. And so I was like, you know what, maybe this is just my sign from the universe. It's time to step out and do my own thing. I did date somebody very briefly for a couple of months and after that blew up, I was like, okay, so we're just going to stay single. And I committed to celibacy, being single. I don't sleep around. That's not who I am. I've never been that way. I will never date somebody or go out to the bar just to sleep with somebody. I have higher standards and morals than that. At my core, all I want is stability. So this whole past 2 years, I deconstructed. I walked away from the church. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. And then I lost my victim mentality, and I was like, okay, no, I actually have more control and more power here. So instead of waiting for somebody else to bring that stability into my life, I'm going to bring it into my life through hard work, prayer, manifestation, journaling, doing the counseling, doing the work, showing up, learning, growing, stretching myself, looking at my shadows. It's called shadow work. It's a real thing. I healed more in 2 years than the whole 10 marriage when I was dying on the inside, because I finally had the courage to say no more. So now, as a run coach, when I tell you that our slogan, our cute little slogan, is to help runners find their second wind on the run and in life, this is coming from literally from the Middle Earth up out of the body of my soul to you. This is what I do because I have lived it. This spark has always been in here. It's just, it got dulled. And since then, the higher I rise, the more haters I get, the more voodoo and black magic and evil eye that get sent my way because people suddenly become jealous. And I'm like, well, you could stand here too if you took the power in your own hands. Stealing my light is not going to fix your problems. And that's what narcissism does to people. It steals your light because they don't have it and they're sad. No, heal that shit for yourself. Stop taking my light, okay? And so I had to realize I had to stop trying to find my stability in other situations, jobs, careers, people, and relationships, and be like, you know what? No, this is on me. So as I continue to grow and evolve, not only as a run coach, but as a business owner, becoming a business owner, literally taking this not as a hobby, but as a business, looking at the finances, looking at the profit, loss, gain, margins, fees, taxes, all these other little moving parts. It has challenged me and grown me in so many ways. I am so incredibly thankful for it. And if you took the time to listen to this entire video, thank you. I hope it finds you well. And I hope that hearing just a 10% of my life story has somehow encouraged you, because if I can stand here in this bathroom in the 4th freaking house I've had to move into the past 2 years, and I'm still here somehow by the grace of God, you can get up. You can do it. I don't care where you're at. I have no college degree. I have 2 failed marriages. I have a broken ass family. But you know what I have? I have a family that we are building because of people that actually love me and actually want to invest in me, right? I have people in my corner now who I don't have to beg for their attention. I don't have to, please don't hurt me. No, it's not like that. We give and receive, we give and we receive. And it's so mutual and it's so beautiful. I cannot tell you how beautiful it is to finally feel so confident, so radiant, so vibrant, so full of life. And I want to give that to you. And that is exactly what we do. All right. I love you.